No.
Все восьмерки пароль.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone!
Hello.
It's again Monday, our favorite day, and we hope it's your favorite day too, because if it's Monday, it means it's a time for Lazarski Talks. As you see today, things look a little bit different. Of course, we have a new guest as every episode. So we are going to talk about the guest a little bit later. But as well, I have a change on my right side. As you can see, a co-organizer of this meeting is going to be Darina. That was our guest last time. Anastasia, who's resting today. So Anastasia,
Yes.
we are wishing you to have a very good holiday there. She's actually here with us and watching. So today I'm going to have as my co-host an amazing help, Darina, and we are going to make this evening, I hope, nice for Ostap because we have so many interesting questions for him. So let's go back to our guest. But
Can
before,
I just interrupt you for a second? Before we start, I want to remind you that we are all here corona-free.
yes,
We were
everyone healthy.
tested. Everyone healthy, everyone negative in this case. And also I would like to remind you to mute your microphone so we will not have any interference. Okay, so we are starting.
So, how many people is here? Are you still joining? We are very happy that some of you are here on time, always, as always. Thank you very much. Guys, so let's start. Our amazing guest today is our amazing lecturer, and we got so many votes that he's going to take part with us in this event. So, welcome, Ostap. Could you tell a few words about yourself?
Thank you. I mean, it's so amazing to be here. Let's, put it straightforwardly. I'm really honored. I was looking forward to come here and maybe, to have a word, to have a chat with all those cool people on the other side of the screen, because yes, you are cool. And yes, I'm looking forward to hear your questions and, interact with you. So, I mean, briefly about myself. Ostap Kushnir, lecturer and researcher with Lazarski University, Department of Government Studies. What I'm doing for life is running different researches on European affairs, specifically Central European affairs, publishing books, delivering classes, trying to enjoy my life. Originally I'm from Ukraine because I know that there were some kind of not gossips, but there was some mystery going on around at Lazarski University, where I'm from. Yeah, I'm from Ukraine.
Confirmed?
Confirmed. Yeah, confirmed. I graduated Lazarski University. That's one of my degrees. And if you the way I communicate in English, that's because of Lazarski University here. That was the place I polished my English. So
All English teachers are fainting now.
come on, come on. Yeah, well, I'm really kind of happy to be a graduate from Lazarski University because it broadened my horizons in many respects.
Wow, thanks a lot. That's our very nice words. Actually, it was not agreed earlier. Okay, nothing is pre-agreed here. Guys, we are having Ostap here, and we prepared some topics with Darina to discuss today with Ostap, because we think it's really, really important for you to know these things. Maybe some of you may find part of Ostap history in your own life. So we hope this is going to be helpful for you. Remember, as always, we want you to ask questions. And as last time, we will have an amazing rewards for those who are asking the most interesting questions, okay? So Ostap at the end of the event is going to choose which question was the most important, and you are going to be able to get a prize. You are going to pick up your prize in the sector D from Lazarski University.
That's right.
Right, and guys, we have on a table today some gadgets. I don't know if you can see this, I'm sure you do. We have books here, and by the way, we have some cars, so boys, get ready. This is going to be something interesting for
Car
you.
talk.
Yeah, and those things are here not without a reason. I don't know if you are aware, but Ostap is a person, it's super creative person, and you wrote, okay, in your relatively short life until now, because you're still quite young, you wrote already 8 books, and these books are so diversified. And we know that these books are your whole life, and actually they are related to your life story. If you could tell us a little bit more about, what are these books about, and maybe which one of them might be useful or interesting for our students to read them.
Okay, that's a global question, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll take some time to explain all this stuff. So, I mean, to begin with, I was born in comparatively small town in Ukraine, and I graduated school there. And when I was at school, I enjoyed reading about adventures. I enjoyed reading about Caribbean sea pirates, all that stuff, and also I liked reading fantasy because fantasy was kind of escape into the world, never ever land and whatsoever. So I started reading fantasy. It all started from that little town. Then I moved to Odessa, to a bit bigger city in Ukraine, where I applied for BA and later MA in journalism. So my first education, my first degree, they are journalist.
Wow.
And yeah, and when I was just, and the journalist department, it was at the Faculty of Philology. So I learned a lot about literature as well. And like having kind of accumulated some knowledge about literature and continuing reading the fantasy books, I started noticing that, well, these guys, they are not working and they are foolish. I can see mistakes, I can see inconsistencies. I see that in this particular passage, they decided, to write everything in a very simple way. So I stopped enjoying fantasy as much as I wanted because I started noticing gaps. And yeah, I'm kind of perfectionist, sorry for that. So I mean, and at a certain moment of time, I decided, okay, I will write the perfect fantasy. I mean, that was the case, and I got inspired by one author, and I decided, okay, I can do better. I mean, so
Was it Wiedźmin?
No.
The Witcher?
No.
No, I'm sure all of you know The Witcher.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going deeper into that. So there was an author, which I just read his books, and then they decided I can do better, especially with my degree in journalism. And well, that's how things started. So my first book, it's in Ukrainian. It's fantasy, The Appearance of the Magician. There are 3 volumes already written. The first volume is published. It was published in 2009. So kind of long time ago, and I managed to sell out all the books, 1,500 copies in a month.
Wow.
So I have reviews, positive reviews, all the stuff on the internet. You may actually find, if you Google my name and second name, and type in The Appearance of a Magician, you will be able to find these reviews and opinions on that book. And but it's told because in year 2010 I moved to Poland. I had time. I mean, this is the book I was writing alongside my first PhD. So yes, in 2010 I wrote my first PhD in journalism.
How many PhDs you have?
2. I mean, I defended one, but I had 2. I wrote 2 PhDs. I mean, in 2010, my supervisor in Ukraine, he told me that you're too young to defend PhD. Let's wait. And we started waiting. And while we were waiting, I wrote 3 volumes of this book. It didn't work out. The defense didn't work out. So because of objective reasons mainly. And it was the decision, taken within hours that I'm going to Poland. I'm rebooting my life actually and trying myself again. So I arrived here, and having PhD written, I applied for MA studies at Lazarski University. At that time, these were University of Wales validated studies.
Yeah.
So I finished them in 1 year because you can't finish British degree, MA degree in a year. So it meant that in summer I was writing my thesis. My thesis I spent writing in summer. I got that MA degree there and defended in 2015 another PhD dissertation about geopolitics.
Okay.
So in 2015, I started getting interested in cars. I mean, I can't say that I was never interested in cars. I mean, but in 2015, that was kind of the watershed moment. Because, scrolling on Facebook, I noticed Jeremy Clarkson. I hope you know about him. Top Gear Grand Tour.
Top Gear.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this. Even girls, right?
Okay. I mean, yeah.
Do you?
Yes, sure.
Definitely. So, and Jeremy Clarkson, I was scrolling on the Facebook, and Jeremy Clarkson just, hey, you, and are you talking to me? Yeah, join Drive Tribe. And what is Drive Tribe? And just checked it out, because, I respect Jeremy Clarkson. He's a very smart guy. Yeah, and I enjoy reading his texts. And it appeared that Drive Tribe is sort of Facebook, but for all people who own cars, like cars, bicycles, motorcycles, whatever with wheels. And that is, like a kind of side product of Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond. So I just, signed up there. And at first I was kind of, like lost because there were a lot of professional journalists writing for that, network. But then it appeared that there is some space for me. And I just, started publishing short, pieces of whatever, reflections on cars. And well, it started generating attention. Right now I have 14,000 followers.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Press
and I decided one day to collect all my pieces, written for Drive Tribe starting from 2016, because 2016 that's time I registered, and yeah, this is the book. Also on Drive Tribe I found Matt Parsons, a car designer from South Africa. So I'm writing articles, he draws pictures for them. So this is kind of unique, product. And the second volume is almost ready. I need to finish like 3 articles more, and we will publishing the second volume, because this is an introduction to academic driving. Second volume there will be advanced academic driving, and then third volume another academic driving, which is more advanced than advanced.
Okay, I have to say something in this place, because I noticed something that is super, I think, valuable for our listeners. Okay? Many of young people, especially now, they have sometimes a problem with deciding what they want to do in their life, and which of their hobbies or which of their passions can be combined with their life and with the work that is giving them income, let's be honest. We were talking about this with Darina last time, right? Because sometimes, parents are telling us, oh, go and study international relations, or go and study economics, or go and study and become an engineer. But actually our passion is something else, right? Our passion is dancing, or our passion is our cars, okay? Or our passion is writing books, right? Becoming an author. So your advice for young people, if they are studying one thing, but actually they have a hobby which is not related to what they study, actually, because your life is showing that you can pursue, and actually you can use all your resources and your hobbies, and you can be successful in this.
Oh, I can't say that I am successful. Well, the amount of money I earn still, it has a room for growth. But anyway. Well, for me, I divide kind of my activities into 2 fields: things which should be done, and things which I want to be done. And I'm trying to balance those things. Well, you cannot escape the reality. You are part of the society. You are, like Aristotle said, you're a social animal. You live in the environment of people who have expectations related to you, and you also have expectations, related to other people. So whether you want it or not, you are existing in certain frames which objective to you, which you can't really change. Anyway, you really try, but the success, I'm not sure it will be overwhelming. And then you have the things which you want to happen. And these are your hobbies, your dreams, your expectations. The way you like spending time. And at certain moment, the hobby may stop being simply a hobby. Because, in the life, I tend to look at the life of a human being kind of stages, and you cannot jump over some stages. Even you may accelerate those stages, but you cannot jump over those stages. So at a certain moment of time, you understand how to convert your hobby into something more than a hobby. But you will not be that kind of successful doing that at 16 years old, for instance, because you still lack that knowledge, you lack that grip of reality where you can jump in. So in other words, imagine your life as a Warsaw City.
Okay.
You need to get from Ursino, where you live, to the city center. City center, this is your desired objective. Whatever, parties there, whatever. Or, success. Let's put it. City center is success. So there are different ways to get to the city center from Ursino. You may take a car and drive on the fastest road. Or you may take a subway. Or you may take a car and then decide, to avoid traffic jams. And just, you are starting zigzagging around the world. Or, you're Google phone or Google becomes faulty, Google Maps, and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. So the point is that eventually you will get to the city center. You will become successful. But there are dozens of different ways to get there. And it's up to you to decide which road is the best for you. And you should always keep in mind that there are traffic jams and that the metro, can simply break on the way. So there are, unpredictable circumstances, but you know where you're going and you have different options to get there.
Wow, that's actually one of the most beautiful metaphors that I've heard, honestly, because this is so accurate, right? So in my opinion, right, you need to know where you are getting, so you need to know your aim. For some, an aim will be to become a celebrity. For some person, the aim will be to become inventor. Okay, for some person it will be to become a writer. For someone it's just going to become rich. Okay, but you know where you are getting and you just on the way, right? And you cannot give up. That's the most important thing.
It's not recommended.
Yeah,
You may take a short break, but yeah.
About giving up, we are having a question.
Okay.
First of all, I will read that. What inspired you to write books and where you are searching for inspiration? And I would like to add something, not only about inspiration for writing a book, inspiration for not to giving up.
Okay.
Where are you finding that?
Inspiration. It's like the first book, the fantasy. It's just like an understanding at a moment that like I can do better and the reader deserves better. So that's it's like let me test myself. Yeah. So let me whether you can really do better. This stuff is just I got inspired by Clarkson, Hammond, and May because they are really witty guys. They present the world with humor because their show Grand Tour, Top Gear, whatever you call it, it's not about cars. It's about life. It's about world. Grand Tour, you're taking a car and you're traveling in Madagascar, in Latin America, in Bolivia, whatever. They are showing the world to the viewer by just by using cars as tools. So that's what I'm also doing like this. I'm bringing science to people through cars. And by the way, dear students, some of these stories may help you passing your exams because they.
So observing someone who will be your inspiration, someone who might be your idol or your father figure, let's call it.
Yes, and finding your spot because at a certain moment of observation, you understand that, wow, there is a niche no one covered, no one have ever covered before. Why not trying? Then you are not copying someone's work. You are, you are perceiving, for instance, that father figure as someone who succeeded at his or her, methodology works. So, okay, I'll do very similar but different, or similar but very different. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
That's nice.
That's actually interesting questions.
Yes, thank you for that.
Also, the same girl is asking. Which part of writing book you enjoy most of all, and what is the most difficult part?
Most of all, probably the research. Again, when I'm trying to find something which just sticks together and sounds convincing, I'm reading a lot. Encyclopedias, different. For instance, here I also read quantum physics to do that. And that was marvelous.
Wow.
That was really marvelous. You discover the world without discoveries. Well, it's a good one, but still not the best one. So you can discover things every new day. Yeah. So and when I'm reading something about astrophysics, ancient philosophy, medicine, architecture, so I'm discovering. It's my personal enjoyment. Wow, I didn't know about that, but it exists. So that's the moment of discovery for me. And there is a belief I heard from one philosopher once. He said that you're getting old when you stop being amused and amazed by the world. When the discoveries,
that's deep, guys.
When discoveries stop happening in your life, because when you are not being impressed by anything, your time. You feel that the time starts flowing faster. If you have a child, the child, every touch is a discovery. And when I remember myself being a child, like I want to grow older. Where are my 16 years? It was so kind of long period of time to get to this 16 years, yeah? But that was the time when the majority of discoveries happened. Afterwards, because we get experience, we have fewer and fewer discoveries on a daily basis. Do more. Discoveries make you feel, happier.
That's an amazing thing. Sometimes I'm personally, like when I'm meeting with the students, when I'm talking to them, and I'm sure you have the same things. Sometimes students are coming, they deciding to study something, and doesn't matter. They decided to study management, or they decided to study economics or something else, or they decided themselves, or someone else decided for them. Sometimes they say, oh, I'm bored, oh, this is not interesting, why should I read these books, why should I research on that, I don't see the point of that. And very often I see that really they are bored with their studies, but sometimes I have this feeling it's not because studies are boring, but because they do not have this discovery sparkle in them, that they focus only on one thing, that they don't like it. I don't like econometrics, or I hate maths, right? But they are not trying to get to know, to research on the things, because maybe in quantum physics that I have no idea about, there is something that would amaze me, right?
Yeah.
So really,
there are a lot of things.
okay,
we can
how
make
to motivate yourself? Okay, you are a young person, you are 18, 19, you are studying economics, that is not exactly whatever you wanted to study, but how to make your life of a student more interesting? It's a time management question too.
Well, how to make life more interesting.
Because your life is so interesting.
Thank you. I can't complain, but I can say that it's
busy.
super. It's busy. Let's put it this way. And sometimes I'm simply lacking energy for new discoveries. It happens. So how to make life more interesting? It's just start reading. Sign up for different groups on Facebook, which are like, for instance, popular science, or super mega advanced photography, or just underwater boating, or just flying on Delta. You may not even know anything about that, but just try. And if after a week of reading, of scrolling their feed, you understand that, yes, this is something interesting, or this will lead me to new discovery, or this will broaden my horizons, okay, I'm staying in that group. If not, okay, sorry, I'm trying something different.
Or at least on this group, I can meet other people similar to me that will help me to develop, or maybe we are going to figure out something ourselves.
Yeah, well, I found Matt Parsons here on Drive Tribe. I never know. He's in South Africa.
And you are in Poland.
Yeah, I'm in Poland. He's South Africa. We have the similar time zone. That's nice. But well, that's different hemisphere, and we are friends. We we are commenting on one another's work, and we appreciate one another's contribution. So, the world is open. Use these opportunities.
Right. That's amazing.
Also, use Lazarski University and Professor and Dr. Ostap Kushnir, who is inspiring. I would like to switch to our comment. Actually, this is a compliment from Anas, your student.
Oh, wow. Thanks,
in the
Anas.
very, very beginning of our episode, he texted our lovely and dear professor, inspiration and motivation. So I want you to know that. That's true.
Thanks,
Since
my
I used to
pleasure.
be your student as well, I'm confirming that. Sticking to this comment, you're actually an inspiration and motivator to our students. And I did a small research, and I get a comment that your approach to teaching students is different. And I'm confirming that again.
And I have to confirm that even though I'm not a student, this is exactly the thing I heard from other students.
Yes, and this is common opinion. So can you comment on that? Why it's different?
Well, it's very hard to comment on common opinion, ladies and gentlemen.
You have no choice now.
Yes.
Well,
What makes your approach toward young people different than others?
To begin with, I like discovery. I like speaking to people. I like exchange with information. And I perceive, I hope that I am doing that this way. I'm perceiving young people as individuals who have already made several important decisions in their lives. Therefore, they are staying, or they stood on a track living to certain kind of city center, certain way to get to city center. Yeah. So when I'm seeing any student is an individual who decided to spend at least 3 years or 2 years or 5 years if BA and MA program combined at Lazarski. That student, that person decided to invest 5, 3 or 2 years of his or her life to acquiring knowledge here at this university in Poland at this particular program. This is an important decision in the life of an individual. I mean, this decision may have been taken under different considerations. I mean, very different, students are motivated by different reasons to join Lazarski. But the fact is, they are here. And, well, I would like myself to be kind of constructive, element in their lives. In these kind of 3, 2, or 5 years, they would like to spend at Lazarski University. Because they made their decision, and I respect the decision. And, well, let me kind of exchange the information. I would like to get the feedback why the students are here, what they are looking for, what they are searching for, and what I can offer to them. And by, on that exchange, come on, everyone makes his or her
It's
own
a game
discovery.
for everyone.
It's a game
for
and
everyone.
it's discovery.
Right,
So-
that's amazing response. And I think that, guys, if you did not yet have a classes with Ostap, remember to choose it as one of your electives. And we have some other really
We have
interesting
actually
questions
a lot
coming.
Of questions.
Right.
If we can just briefly go back to the topic of books, there was a question, couple of them, how to find your own style of writing, and also one of our students, Ines, she was asking if you could tell your younger writing self anything, what would it be? And what advice can you give for young writers?
Okay, how to find inspiration? You should read. It will come. I mean, at a certain moment of time, when you're reading books, whatever you would like to read, newspaper articles, quantum physics journals, whatever. At a certain moment, it starts kicking in that you have something to say, something extra, something which had never been said before. And you start finding your niche, and you know how to fill that niche out. You have these father figures who just prove on their example that things happen. Well, okay, do it your way. So that's the way. What if? What would I tell my younger self when I was young? I mean, well, you cannot bypass certain stages in your life. You may squeeze them, you may accelerate them, but the experience you need to get, you cannot bypass that. Well, one of my biggest fears, I'm telling you by secret, one of my biggest fears, this is the fear of lost time. So it means that, okay, I know something, I can contribute to the society, to other people in some way, I can exchange with information, yeah, but I'm very afraid to miss the time, not to do everything I can do in the domain I'm good at. So and then I'll feel that I underperformed, and because maybe I underperformed, someone did not get from me or from his or her life, maximum which I could offer. Yeah. So I'm trying to catch up with time. Yes. Try to squeeze as much as I can do in the time span which I would like to have. So do not bypass. And there was a question from Ines. Can you read it again?
Yes. What advice can you give for younger writers?
Okay.
And
for
to
younger writers,
yourself.
read a lot. Just read. And it will kick in.
Okay.
Okay. In this, your really busy and fast schedule, in your lifetime, at which period and which point of time you decided to become a lecturer?
Oh well.
This is actually based on the question from our beautiful host Anastasia Menchkova. She's asking that.
Well, when I was probably 12 years old.
Well,
Wow!
Yeah.
I
so
didn't expect that.
I wanted to become a princess that time.
The same.
12 or 14. So the point is that, well, look, I was born to the dynasty of doctors. My father is a surgeon, my brother is a surgeon, my mother is biochemist. My grandma was also, like a doctor. So, and everyone has supposed me that okay, you will go into our steps, you will be the doctor, But I'm terribly afraid of blood, specifically when it's my blood. I'm just knocking off and goodbye. So you see.
Remember,
tomorrow.
guys, don't bleed at the classes.
Yeah. Please don't. No. Well, the point is that I like chemistry. I know biology. Yes, but as just I see blood, something happens. It kicks in. Yeah, let's put it this way. So, and then like the incident happened when I was around 14. And then my father looked at me and said, "No, you will not go into that, like
medicine."
And that was the decision, the watershed moment. Then if not doctor, who would I be? And my grandfather, he was professor, and he spent his life, teaching geography, and that was another inspiration for me. So, I mean, in my family, among my closest relatives, I had an example to follow, a father figure, a grandfather figure.
Yeah.
So, and that was, like, okay, maybe then science. And because I liked reading and I liked writing, we decided to go into journalism, mass media, this kind of domain. So, yeah, that's why I wrote my first PhD in journalism.
Okay. So it was really early age, and this is actually very lucky because you have your family support, right?
Yes.
On which path of your life you can take. And what about young people that they are 19, 20, they are at the university, they are doing some kind of study, but they still do not know who shall I become? What shall I do in my life? Of course, they are this, professional orientation exams, the tests that you can do. But what is your advice for a person? If I'm 19 or 20 and I'm still lost, I don't know. Shall I go this way or that way or that way? What is the way I shall decide about my future?
Well, look, there is a group of people at 19 years, at least that's, because I'm asking every year, I'm asking students the same question. The first class of ours, what are you doing here? I mean, why have you decided to come to Lazarski and spend 3 years here? And I see a lot of different answers. And there is a group of people among these students who know exactly what they are doing here, who have decided that, okay, that in particular international relations, this is the way for their career growth, and this is what they would like to do. There are some students who are confused because, international relations, okay, we will get the basics of everything, humanitarian knowledge, and, and then afterwards we will...
It's flexible for the future.
Yes, it's flexible for the future.
Right.
And, there are many reasons. The point is, it will kick in. Just do your research.
Okay.
Now, the more you study international relations, economics, medicine, whatever, the more you learn, the better you understand whether this is your way or not exactly. And if you understand that this is not exactly my way, you understand better what exactly is your way. Then
this is game.
Let's change tracks. Well,
Exactly.
let's take the round turn to the city center.
Yeah, so I would like to emphasize this because sometimes, I see this, I don't know how to call it, disappointment when very young person, because for me, okay, someone who's 19, 20 and graduating studies and, is panic in the eyes or disappointment, I still don't know who I want to become. Oh my God, why did I decided to graduate economics, or why did I decided to graduate something like, I don't know, management or something else? What I want to emphasize here is what Ostap actually said, and this is super wise, is that you did not lose anything. Because of obtaining any kind of a study, you did not lose. You gained lots of experience on the way, you met lots of people on the way, and as well, if this is not something for you, you should not be disappointed, because at least this is not something that I want to do, and maybe it is going to give you a base for something else in the future.
Yes, for acceleration.
Yeah.
Catching up with time. That's kind of...
So if you do not know yet who exactly you want to become, don't panic, don't feel disappointed, because this is natural, right? It may happen. Some people, they know from the age of 5 or 4 when they started dancing, or 12, whoever they are going to become. But I remember myself when I was 19, I started studies and I was completely panicked. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I only knew, for example, I love people, that I want to be with people. And so studies that I graduated helped me a little bit in that, but it was not exactly what I wanted. But it helped me to choose the right way to the city center, as we talked.
Okay. Observe, adapt, overcome, and you'll succeed.
Wow. Just like from Instagram,
Students,
right?
take notes, please.
Right.
It will help you out. Okay, coming back to being a lecturer.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of questions. By the way, I remember that beautiful question was asked to me 5 years ago, and I was so nervous. So here is the question. Were you nervous when you were coming to your first class to teach? To your students?
First class.
Not as a student, but
Not
as
student,
as a lecturer.
Yeah, I should say that I was.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you remember that?
I mean,
Like in details?
no, not in details. Actually, when you are starting, you know, like that's kind of public speaking. Yes. When you are starting, and my biggest fear. I mean, I can't recall that exact class. My biggest fear was to say something stupid. Because, well, you are not much older than these students in front of you, but you are lecturer already. So you're on the other side of the fence. So you should not discredit yourself. You should not sound stupid, and you should be, I mean, okay, maybe inspiring in certain respect, but at the same time, look authoritative. You are the lecturer. And that was my biggest fear. I mean, not to say something which is not appropriate for the lecturer. Yeah.
It means that that professors and lecturers are human too. So
I mean, they definitely are. But well, you know, like when you're speaking about myself, my first experience as a lecturer, I mean, that was my fear. I mean, to behave according to standards of how lecturers should behave. Because, well, I'm younger, I'm not experienced, my English might have not been perfect. So, I mean,
because
one
it's
selection
perfect over
may
time,
be wrong.
right? Sorry, I have to pull this question.
Okay.
Now classes look completely different way, right? All of our students and as well all of our lectures are online. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a virtual reality.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's not a real class as it was before. And some students, you know, they feel this is not exactly the way they like it. This is not exactly the way they wanted it. From your point of view as a professor, do you feel the difference in online class? Do you think they are less efficient? Do you think this is something that should make a young person to resign from class because it's online?
Well, speaking about my personal trauma of online classes, dear students, when I'm delivering the class, I see a little white dot near the camera of my laptop, and I'm looking at these little white dots, and I understand that like the camera is on and you are watching at me, but well, I can't interact with you. I know that you're on the other side of the screen, but that little white dot is what just lets me know that you are there. So it's very hard, really, it's very hard to speak
for
to
8 hours or
camera
6 hours, right?
for whatever comes, knowing that, I mean, you should not look stupid, knowing that students observe me all the time, even if I'm not just if I'm not watching looking their faces, seeing their faces, but well, it's kind of, you are sitting in a room with no noises and you're speaking to a camera and to that white dot. So this is challenging. This is not the experience which I expected, because I like interaction with people. I like emotions. I like telling jokes and I see, like whether these jokes are appreciated or were appreciated or not. Well, I want to have people around me. Yeah.
Okay.
So you are not the only suffering.
Okay.
Let's put it this way.
If they turned the camera on and you could see their faces, is it making the things easier?
Yeah, slightly yes, but well, it doesn't change the fact that I'm seeing the screen with a face, not a real person, and that makes an impact. Whether to resign or not to resign, definitely not. Guys, you are living in 21st century. We are living in the era of electronic communication, the internet, whatsoever. You're using Instagram.
Right.
Well, you are not resigning from Instagram because you can't speak to a person face to face.
Right. or yeah, and it can touch your friend, your family communication. I mean, you are not resigning from loving your grandma because she's 1,000 kilometers away and you are talking with her only through WhatsApp or something, right?
Moreover, guys, I believe that the future of education will be more and more kind of internetized. We are shifting into that direction of knowledge pills, into the direction of short, compressed videos or presentations where, you know, like volumes of information are presented in a quite condensed way, so you, dear students, could just absorb it easily. And if you look at those trends which are happening in the West, Harvard University, it also went online,
Right.
and it started selling its online courses, which leads to degree. And well, I mean, there are students
Yep.
studying there. So this is the trend. I mean, COVID-19 accelerated that trend, but I think that the trend of switching into online studies, it's a global one.
Yeah. And of course, contact with people is very important. Contact with person is with a human being, and this emotional part of it is very, very important.
Definitely,
but
yes.
but
Believe me.
it is, and it's added value, right, to any kind of experience. But I guess that, as you said, this is the way the world goes, and we just have to adapt to it, adapt and take as much as we can from that.
Observe, adapt, overcome. Yeah.
Yes. Do we have any
Students
other
take
questions?
Yeah, sure. We have a couple of them. Ines is asking, I'm a big fan of your work, so I have a question. What is your favorite thing about being a professor?
Favorite thing about being a professor? Students.
Students.
Oh,
Amazing.
wow.
And another question perfectly connected to this, your answer. How not to lose the connection between lecturer and students? What characteristics a lecturer should have?
Well, this is a very tricky question, because what characteristics a lecturer should have, it depends on the student. It depends on the way the student absorbs information. Because, I mean, example, when I was a student on the Department of Journalism, I didn't like one particular lecturer. Because she was not reacting anyhow with students. She was, you know, walking near the blackboard here and forth and just speaking something to herself. She was not even worried whether students are listening to her or not. But I was taking notes. And when, you know, I started reading those notes, these notes were perfectly organized. So yes, she was not interacting in the way which I would like that to happen, but yes, the notes were perfectly clear, perfectly structured. So I learned a lot by simply rereading those notes. It all depends. I know that there are some students who don't like me because they, I mean, I read your feedback,
don't
dear
think
students.
so.
Yeah, I know.
Guys.
You speak too fast, for instance, or, I mean, sometimes you speak in a very complicated way, or, you know, like you speak too much about cars. I mean, okay, sorry for that. Well, I mean, this also shows that, dear students, you are different. And you have different expectations to the lecturer, to the people around you, to the world around you. You would like the world around you to be organized in a comfortable way. And this means that it's very hard to answer how to be the perfect lecturer, because the perfect lecturer exists for perfect student. And every student is perfect. Therefore, guys, well, I'm doing my best to keep you entertained. But it doesn't mean that, you know, this is the perfect way of teaching.
Okay, I have to pull this question because it's a very interesting thing, actually. All right, so let's say that I don't like some kind of lecture. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about any particular person, because, of course, let's be honest, everyone has likes or dislikes about people, right?
That's
Someone who's
natural.
perfect for me doesn't have to be perfect for other person. So if a student doesn't like something particular in the classes you give or any other lecturer give, would you or other professor, how it shall be, you know, resolved? Shall I go directly, shall I hit directly to the professor and say, I'm sorry, sir, or I'm sorry, ma'am, this is something I don't like in your class. Would you feel offended by this, or would it be for you or for other person? Shall this person try to change and grow? And take it as a growing point of in the giving classes, or this person definitely is going to hate you and you just fail your exam until forever.
Well, look, dear students, you have this very powerful option, which is feedback. You can every semester you can fill out the forms and just let
It was
the
sent
lecturer-
out week ago, by the way.
Yes, and you may let the lecturer know all the pros and cons of his or her particular approach.
But is it better to come straight, or is it better to write in this feedback?
Well, it depends on the way how lecturer behaves, how lecturer
You are talking too
responds. Yeah, I'm talking. Well, you can come and tell me that. By the way, I'm doing my. Sorry if I'm talking too fast, but I'm doing my
No,
best.
it's just an example.
I'm doing my best, yes, to after I got that feedback to talk slower. Yeah?
Okay.
Because that really, that helped me. I got another perspective, and again, there are different people. There are different students. There are students who are, justice must prevail. I'm going and I'm telling that particular lecturer whatever I think of him or her. That's fine. That's, the personality of a student. And there are also different lecturers. There are lecturers who are ready to absorb the feedback information. Then there are lecturers who are ready to absorb, but they have so much, duties on their head that they may look not that kind of willing, but well, they are. So it's all, everything's very situational. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, here at Lazarski, we have a very cool set of lecturers, and they have a lot to tell you. So if you are here, get the knowledge, get your discovery. Even if you do not particularly enjoy the way this particular lecturer delivers information to you, he or she delivers information, and you may use that information to broaden your own horizons, to grow, to get new reading, to open another book. The lecturer sets the guideline. Whether you like him or her or not, well, you have that guideline, so use it.
Right. That's an amazing advice, actually. I see that we have other questions coming.
We have a question and we have a comment from my colleague Magda Miczkowska, who is saying, Mr. Ostap, I cannot prepare my dinner because this episode is so interesting. Okay, and the question, you're saying that we have different lectures and all of the students, our students and every student is different, right? But do you see specific common features, for example, among IR students and among management students? Because here we have a question. Most of the time you are teaching IR students. How it is to teach management students with definitely other point of view?
Let's put it this way. IR students, they are more idealist. They are more like, we want to change the world to the better, and we are either taking super drastic steps and become superheroes on international level, or we are building up our careers in a way that gradually, step by step, we will do something, we will make an impact. Yeah, so even through social media, whatever. So because social media is also part of international relations.
And it's power too.
Yes, it's power. So you have this kind of more idealism, in international relations. Managers, they are more pragmatic. They are just, okay, this is a good idea. Okay, let me check whether it works or not. Oh no, it doesn't work my time. Let's something else. So managers, they are more result-oriented. Let's put it this way. While IR students, they are more process-oriented. And that's to summarize briefly my impression.
Wow, that's a very interesting comment, actually. I think it's accurate. Sorry, I think it's accurate. Observing different people applying for different kind of degrees, I think it might be accurate.
I don't know, for me it's so difficult to answer such
Because actually you might be a mix of both of this.
Mix of both. Thank you for the compliment.
Actually, Ostap, we are not having loads of time left, because the talk is so pleasurable, and it's you have so many interesting things to say that we would most probably have to sit here for 1 week and discuss different kind of things. But I think there's something important, This is, guys, a last episode before your winter holiday, before the seasonal break, right? Because we are here in Poland, so during the Christmas period and New Year time, you are on off. So you have 2 amazing weeks off. You can prepare your essays, you can prepare yourself for exams, or you can just enjoy your time during this time. But I would like to talk about some kind of practical advices for students. Actually, some of our students, they are going to celebrate Christmas, they are going to celebrate New Year in a very small groups of people according the pandemics,
we
remember?
cannot do that in big groups.
Yes, so or
Not only students.
yeah, not only students, everyone is going to
Facing
everyone.
challenge.
But okay, some of students, they are going to do it. They are Catholics or they are going to do it together with the family because this is a tradition. Okay, but as well there is a group of our students that they are not going to celebrate it, maybe because they are atheists or maybe they are of a different religion, so they do not practice Christmas. So what is going to be an interesting tip, an interesting advice from your side? And preparing for exams is not the interesting one. What is your tip? What would you advise to do during this time? Because actually, guys, none of us here is. I mean, all three of us. We are not Catholics, so we are interested in these interesting tips. What to do during these 2 weeks?
First of all, let's look at the fact.
Yeah,
You'll have 2 weeks.
that's loads of time.
You can set records of watching movies, records of sleeping, records of cooking dinner or supper, because food is important, believe me. You may set, if you want to set a record, just invent what kind of record you would like to set and do it. You may set a record even on reading your books and getting yourself ready for the exam.
Right.
The point is, do something, and do something creative. Because creativity and discovery, this is what makes you fill your life with memorable achievements. The things which actually stick to your head, they are the different things. They are not ordinary things which you have every day. You cannot recall every day of your studying at the university, but you can recall certain particular dates where you heard the best joke from the lecturer, or your MS Teams went off and you could not reconnect. So these were outstanding events. So fill out your 2 weeks with these kind of outstanding things. What are these things? This depends up to you. This depends on whatever you are interested in. Maybe some of you were waiting for these 2 weeks to come into your life, and finally I can have a long sleep. So, this is up to you. Just be creative. And if you lack ideas, join different Facebook groups, join different forums, read the books you never hoped to read before.
And here is the perfect time to ask the last question. What is your top 3 books that are must to read?
Oh gosh. This is so unfair.
Oh, you have it on the table.
No, not really. These are the books. They have their flaws. Let's put it this way. 3 major books. Ray Bradbury, 451 Fahrenheit, if I'm not mistaken. Then when I was a child, I liked Raphael Sabatini. He was writing about pirates, the Odyssey of Captain Blood Odyssey. Then the third book, something from Jeremy Clarkson. I Know You Got Soul.
Actually,
the title of the book.
it was a guy asking. So, Azamat Bek, I hope that you love cars. Yeah. Actually, it's very difficult, right? There's so many interesting books.
Yes.
It's so difficult to name this 3.
The problem with me is that there are so many different and interesting books which I would love, but I have no idea they exist. So, and if you know that there is something, but you do not know exactly what it is, it's hard to make a decision.
Guys, if you want to share in our Instagram, okay, so Lazarski Instagram or Lazarski Student Help Desk, share the top 3 books that you love the most.
By the way, that's...
Because sharing the knowledge, actually, because your 3 books, my 3 books, and your 3 books might be completely different. So if you will add your 3 your top read books, let us know. Maybe this is something that we are going to read and we can share.
That is something which may actually lead to discovery, because if you share your 3 books, I am not aware, that would be discovery for me. And if I like that book, well, thank you very much. Help others, broaden horizons of others, just interconnect.
Right. That's actually an amazing idea.
And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you create challenges for
Yeah,
Instagram.
exactly. But interesting challenges.
Interesting
And
and very
remember,
useful.
remember, guys, I wanted to add as one of the last things that Ostap, you are super active on social media. You are one of these professors of ours that you are very active on Facebook. You are very active on Instagram. So if someone wants to approach you after this event on Instagram, Kushnir, right?
Kushnir, yeah.
Right, and ask you about top books, or maybe ask you about cars, or maybe ask you
Yeah,
about
you're
any other
welcome.
thing related to your job. Are you happy to invite the person there?
I mean, I'll do my best to address all the queries, all the questions. Definitely.
Guys, you have an amazing opportunity to actually directly contact Ostap and discuss any kind of interesting topic that will help you to get to the city center, right?
Yes, I would be happy to do that. But guys, do not forget that I'm also on my way to the city center. So
You have to go together.
yes, it's one of the options.
Right. And last thing, like completely last, because we have 5 minutes left. You know, I discovered something that Ostap is doing, which is very unique. Not many people is doing it. I was never doing it. And I do not know many people doing it. With end of every year, you do a summary of your year. You do a summary of your achievements, of your thoughts over that year. Why do you do it? And would you recommend other people to do this kind of things? And I'm not talking about depressive lying in bed, you know, with the end of a year and alcohol and crying, or oh, this year sucks and everything was sucks. No, your summary of the year is very interesting because you are always trying to find things that filled up your year and brought you closer actually to your aim.
That summary is.
You can read it online, by the way. You can find it on...
It's not that easy to find. Let's put it this way.
On social media.
Yeah, because I'm trying to just like sometimes to contain the information I'm sharing. The summaries. At certain moment of time, I just looked at my life and I decided to. It was some time ago, and I decided just like to measure pluses and minuses to achievements and kind of misachievements or the dreams which I had at 16 years old and really what I have at this particular moment. And some of them, yes, I mean some achievements were accomplished, I mean tiny minority. Some things they were achieved or achievements were accomplished, though in a very different way than I imagined way back when I was 16 years old. And there is a group of things where I failed. Failed objectively because, well, I didn't know how to, and failed subjectively, yes, because I knew how to, but I underperformed, I did something wrong and whatsoever. So one of the reasons, I mean, two major reasons I'm writing this stuff. First, to make this kind of, like the balance, the check of what was happening. And secondly, simply to communicate a message to the readers that failures are natural. You cannot achieve everything you wish on the very first attempt. Subjectively, objectively, you will fail. And the higher you want to go, I mean, the bigger the fail will be.
But is it bad?
It's not bad. It is what happens. I mean, if you are ambitious enough, be ready to fail. And do not just, like, start depressing. Don't start depressing just, from the understanding that you failed. Well, you failed today. Yes, that was painful. That you really hoped you will succeed. You invested a lot of time into that. Really, but you failed. That's natural. Well, it happens.
Is it good to make a plan with an end of a year of what I want to achieve next year? Is it good to set yourself a goals?
It's good because that's, like you are setting the city center. You're putting the city center on the map.
And these small steps are bringing you closer.
But also do not forget that plan is one thing, but opportunities are different things. So on your way to city center, you may just be offered a lot of opportunities coming unexpectedly to you. So your plan should be flexible enough to embrace opportunities. Yes, you should have a plan, definitely. You should know what you are doing now, where you will be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. When you will have a family, where you will be employed, whether it will be your personal business or you will work, for instance, for European Commission in Brussels. You need to have it already in your mind now, because you are here at Lazarski, and Lazarski provides you with tools to get your plans into reality, to put your plans into reality. So you should know where you are going to. You should have that city center. Yeah, but on the way, there are different opportunities.
Yeah, so you should be flexible.
You should be
to
flexible,
change.
but you should not be just,
Missing your point.
yeah, missing the tracks. So just, you know where you're going, and you can go different ways there.
Okay, perfect. Do we have any questions from our students?
No, we do not. And I think this is the perfect moment to choose the best one and the most interesting question
Comment.
of
Yeah.
today's episode.
Which was
Well,
not easy.
Which was the most triggering for you, let's say?
The most triggering, it's probably what would I tell my younger self if I had that opportunity.
It was question from Ines?
It was a question from Ines, yes.
Okay, so Ines, you won an amazing gadget from Lazarski University. So we are going to leave a pack for you at the entrance on sector D with your name and surname. So from tomorrow afternoon, you can come and pick your pack. We are so proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
and
much.
actually, all the questions today were so interesting.
They were.
Yeah, we got many interesting questions.
mean,
Thank you very much for
The
this, guys.
question about 3 books, that made me think.
So yeah, so it was a question from Azamat Bek. Azamat Bek, my advice for you is really share your top 3 books with us on Instagram. And I think it's a nice thing to do. So every one of you who are here to share their books, I'm going to search some interesting books at home, which were, some kind of a mile for me too. And I think it's nice to share with it. Yeah, because maybe we never know about existence of these books. Guys, it was our last episode before the Christmas and seasonal break and the New Year break. The next episode is going to be from the second Monday of January. So when you are going to be back to your class activities online, and then we will be happy as well to see you again. We are going to, of course, inform you about that on Instagram, on Facebook, so definitely not miss our episode after the new year, because we have so many more interesting guests coming. Remember that you can share as well with us on Instagram who you want to invite next time, because remember, this event is for you. We want to share the most important thoughts that are going to help you, to get to the city center. So thank you very much. It was so lovely to have you all with us.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
wish
for sharing your knowledge, for inspiring speech.
Wow,
actually.
it was my
that
pleasure.
was an inspiring speech
Yes,
for me.
it was amazing.
Thank you for this exchange. Thank you for all these questions. They really were catchy, and they made me reflect on myself as well. So thank you. It was my really honor and pleasure to be here.
Ostap, what kind of wishes you have with the end of this year for our students?
Be creative and successful.
And we wish you lots of health. We wish you to have an amazing time and use this time for new challenges, new opportunities, to be creative as we talked, and stay joyful, rest a bit, and come back with new energy and new power in 2021. And believe me, we can't wait to see you here with us. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
All the best. Have a nice break.